In this video, we're going to show you how to use the sub-recipe feature of Cookaborough and also how to use the scalable recipe card. So come with me and we will show you how this works. So first of all, over in the food section of your dashboard, you will see that there is a section titled sub-recipes. So we'll go into sub-recipes, and this is where you build sub-recipes which will then become part of recipes. So an example of that might be a bolognese sauce, might be a sub-recipe into another recipe. It might be the pastry that you use for a tart or the filling, or it might be bechamel sauce that you use in your lasagna. So we'll go with the bechamel sauce example. So down here you'll see I've already created a bechamel sauce. So I'll just take you into there, and you'll see here it's as simple as, and very similar to how you would create a recipe. You give it a name, you add the ingredients, which you can see here I've done previously: flour, butter, milk. I've put in the quantities, and then I've also added a method, giving myself instructions on how to make the bechamel sauce. As per a normal recipe, you choose the unit type. So in this case, my bechamel sauce, I'm doing it in the metric of mils, and this particular recipe makes 500 mils, and you'll see I will save that. And there it is, bechamel sauce. So once you've created your sub-recipe, you're now in a position where you can add it to a recipe. So we'll click over here, go into recipes, and we'll use the traditional lasagna as the example here. So here's my traditional lasagna recipe. You'll see in the list of ingredients at the moment, I don't have the bechamel sauce. What I have done though is I've also included some instructions, so I'll come back to that in a moment. But what I need to do in this recipe is, rather than adding the individual ingredients for the bechamel sauce, I can simply search up bechamel sauce. There it is, it's showing as a sub-recipe. I'll select it, and it now appears as an ingredient, identifying it as a sub-recipe into my lasagna recipe. I'll just tell the system there that we want 500 mils of bechamel. And you'll notice also that there is an add method over here on the right hand side. So what this allows me to do is I can, by clicking add method, and you'll see there it's grayed out, which means that I've activated it. When we scroll down here in my recipe instructions, you'll see that it has added the method for the bechamel sauce into the method for my lasagna. And also what you've got here is what we call a text editor. So it allows you to bold, underline, increase the size of headings, put in dot points, put in numbers. So it's giving you the ability to format your recipe card or your method, which then becomes your recipe card, into however you want it to look. So I'll leave that as it is there, and then we will come down here and we'll save it. So that is sub-recipes. Over here on the left, as you would normally with a recipe, create the sub-recipe. Once you've created the sub-recipe, you can add it to a standard recipe. So going back into this lasagna, would also like to show you that we now have a feature where with the recipe card, you'll see here the recipe card is pulling through the ingredients for the bechamel sauce, and it's creating that separation on the recipe card. And then down here you can see that the bechamel sauce is also included in the method. And the other thing to note with this new recipe card is you'll see that this particular recipe makes 10 serves. I've now got the ability where I can change the yield or change the number of serves. And if you have a look here at 10 serves, it's 1.5 kilograms of beef. I'm going to change that, and it has scaled up my recipe to give me the quantities required in order to make the 20 serves. And you'll see down here it's also showing 20 serves, and again I can change that back to 10 serves, back to the original recipe. So hopefully a helpful tool for you in the kitchen. And then of course you can also download by clicking the download button, and what that will do is produce a recipe card that looks like this, and something that you can print off. So that's what we've got to share with you today. A quick little recap. It's over in food, sub-recipes, build your sub-recipes, and then as required, add them to your standard recipes. When you do add them to the standard recipe, you will have the chance to add a method, and the method will live down here.